Many moons ago, the light of the internet began. It slowly streamed through every home, but still there were those that were lost. Then the light came through, illuminating the way to the page. Welcome, traveler, to the Bite and Claw Tavern. Take a seat. We'll be with you very soon. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Bite and Claw Tavern. I am your host, Valley Girl Heather. Oh, yes, it is rather dark in here today, but that's okay. I don't think it'll last long. For tonight, I am going alone against the flames, and somehow I think that this darkness is going to become illuminated, whether I want it to or not. Welcome everybody. Hi, it's me. I am Valley Girl Heather, and welcome to my Twitch channel. Welcome to my very first solo stream, officially for the Blight and Claw Tavern. Again, tonight I am going to be running through Chaosium's Alone Against the Flames. This is an introductory Call of Cthulhu 7th edition scenario. It is solo. It was written by the fantastic Gavin Inglis. I hope I didn't mess that up. And what perfect way to bury and salt and burn the the past year and watch the new year rise before us, but by indulging in a little mythos horror, because why the hell not? So this is my first time for going through any of the Alone Against series. There are several of them. This is just the one that somehow spoke to me, and I'm not sure if that's going to be a good thing or not, but we will find out together. I do have, I believe, everything available that was told to me. The only part of this I have read is the introduction, which just is a couple of paragraphs that goes over what I would need. So I have my quick start rules just in case I happen to need them at the ready. And of course, I have my notebook and pens. I'm ready to go on that. I have the scenario here on my second monitor, as well as a character sheet in case so I can refer to anything. And of course, I have my dice because that is absolutely necessary. Tonight's dice are my usual Cthulhu dice. I'm just going to show these wonderful things off. Almost all of these are from Black Oak Foundry. I love these the group to death. These are some of the D6s. You get an idea of them. They have some fantastic dice. Highly recommend. Good people. So we can see some of my Mythos dice. Yes. So as a kid, the reason I chose to go for the first time doing this, hi, thank you for the follow. The reason I chose to do this is because as a kid, one of my favorite series of all time is the Choose Your Own Adventure book line. Uh, One day I tried to get my daughter and my son involved, interested in it. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, they didn't. But I still love the series. In fact, to a point that several years ago, I picked this up. This is one of the Choose Your Own Adventure solo games. You can actually, board games, you could play this solo. So when the Alone Against series started to emerge, it was almost a foregone conclusion that at some point I was going to play it. I wasn't expecting to play it live online for the very first time, but here we are, and happy New Year's to everybody out there, or just a happy Tuesday or Wednesday, wherever you may be. There is bubbly in the wings, so when we get through this, whether I survive or not, I am doing the non-alcoholic, the sparkling cider, the actual champagne is upstairs. Well, that will be waiting for me when I get out of here. But for now, we are going to, well, you, me, all of us on this journey together are going to go alone against the flames. Again, never watched any of these. I've heard fantastic things about them. I've never played them. I've never read them. I know of them and approximately some of the mechanics involved, but this is going to be a brand new journey. So let's get started because midnight here in the Midwest, I am in the Central Time Zone, is not going to wait for anyone. Let's get started. The sun is in the sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take your hat off for a moment. Oh, thank goodness. You fan your face. It's been a long summer here in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. Well, I don't know. I think I look pretty good tonight. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. As someone who's moved around quite a bit, that makes complete sense. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you are doing the right thing. If you have to ask yourself this question when it comes to Call of Cthulhu, no, you're not. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life and a brave one. A small gray motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on, pick up your cases, or in my case, and we go to section number 263. So let's head there. As I am running the PDF of this on my computer, I do have an option to be able to get around a little bit easier. And 263. Come on, bring up the page. Okay, here we go. Oops, almost past it. Don't want to look. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. Anybody who has played Cthulhu knows the color yellow is never a good thing, even if it is in passing. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He is a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem. Yet his eyes are sharp in their deep sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket to Ossipee. From there you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford, a rail ticket for at least some of the way. Otherwise, this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares and he takes a draw. He exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage racks up there. Well, let's see. Look at your character sheet at the top. You have spaces for 8 characteristics: strength, constitution, power, dex, appearance, size, intelligence, and education. Allocate the following values among them, writing in the large square besides each. So when making simple basic characters for Call of Cthulhu, and this is probably the easiest way, whether you're making a PC or an NPC, you just grab this number set and you kind of put them in to your characteristics. So it's a 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, and 80. And I am going to set this up because I'm going to write this in my notebook. Since I have an idea, here we go. So for strength, not the strongest, and I'm going to kind of model this after myself. So we'll see how this goes. I am not the strongest person by any means. So we're going to put a 50 in there. For my con, my con is a 50. And I know what you're thinking. Why would you put a 50 for your con if you know you don't have to? Because if I'm doing this off of myself, unfortunately, I'm not. Let's just say that any bug that my kids pick up, I tend to pick up. So, con of 50. Then we're going to go, we have our POW, because power. And on that, if you kind of put everything together, I'm going to give myself a 60 on that. My dex, again, not the most dexterous, I'm going to go a 50. Appearance. Oh, guys, I don't know. What do you think? Maybe a 60? I'm thinking a 60. I give myself at least that. And then we have size. Size, let's see. A little bit of a bigger person. So let's do, because I will try to knock your butt out if you try to wrong me, or at least, you know, mama bear kind of thing. Okay, so size, I'm going to put a 70 there because yes. Int is an 80, which it feels very strange to be able to do that, but that's what we're going to do. So we have the 350s, we have the 260s, we have the 70 and the 80. And education. Oh, I may have to change a couple things because all I have left is a 40. You know what? I'm going to switch that out. My strength is going to be a 40. And then I'm going to move that 50 over to education. And then I'm going to switch one more. I'm going to give myself a 50 in POW and a 60 in education because I'm really basing this off myself. This is what I'm going to do. So here are the stats as they stand. Strength of 40, con of 50, POW of 50, dex of 50, appearance of 60, size of 70, intelligence of 80, and education of 60. And whether that actually matches myself or not, we're just going to run with it because those are the stats that I get to work with. Okay. Now that we've done that, it is asking me to go to number 8. So I'm going to bounce back here and bounce back up through the section, and I'm going to find the page with number 8. There we go. All right, let's move on. The driver smokes and watches as you drag your cases across to the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get a grip on the heavier case. I think things are going to start happening. So let's see. It says, if your size is 40, go to 23. If your size is higher than this, go to 38. Well, my size, just checking, is a 70. So definitely higher. So we are headed to number 38. And gotta backtrack just, oop, there it is. Okay. The driver continues to enjoy his cigarette, watching with keen interest as you struggle with the cases. You grit your teeth and heave the second one into place. I would do it purely on spite, just to not give him the satisfaction, so this makes sense. Perhaps the residents of Arkham will have better manners. Be careful of those with manners, though. Okay, we are to head to number 233. So we are headed deeper into this. And there we go. The driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engine coughs to life. You board, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip, at least. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes, you can still see the church spire over the brow of the low hill. Then the road dips, and then it too is gone. Arkham is your new home. You will travel there, and you will make a new start. Ah, so the directions are you will see two smaller boxes to the right of each characteristic value. We see that. Have each value rounding down and write the result in the upper right box. So this, what he's doing, what they're doing is they are taking your main characteristics, and now we are finding, because these will give you normal success. So if I'm rolling this number under, I'm going to get a normal success. What it is now having me do is it's having me find the numbers that my target numbers for my hard successes and my extreme successes. So, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump the gun on this because I am kind of doing the math in my head here. So for strength is a 40. So for hard success, it would be a 20, 1/5 of that. And I will get to that. It doesn't have me do that yet. So con is a 50, so half is 25. Pow is 50, again, half is 25, if I can write this. Dex is 50, so again, 25. And 60 for my appearance, that goes to 30. 70 goes to 35. Intelligence, 80 to 40. And my education, or no, is 30. And yes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna bring up my calculator to make sure my fifths are appropriate because I'm pretty sure 8 times 5 is 40, so my extreme on my strength would be an 8. Because I don't trust myself fully. My con is a 50, so 1/5 will be a 10. And that's the same for my POW and my Dex. 60, so 5 is a 6. Appearance is a 6. Size, oh geez, 70 divided by 5 equals 14. I did have a little bit of like holiday cheer before I jumped in, but only a tiny, tiny bit, only about a shot's worth. So 8 times 5 is 40, but we need to double that, so it would be 16. If I remember, if I'm thinking correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, folks. I think I got that. Yep, 16. And then 1/5 of 60. Oops, why did that not work? No. This doesn't want to work. Is 12. So my education or no rolls are 12 for my extreme. All right. I'm just going to keep that up in case I need it. So now I now have all of my characteristics. I now have my regular success, my hard success, and my extreme success target numbers. We're on our way. Okay, now I have to do, it says, in the strip below, you will see tracks that record sanity and magic points. Those ultra important sanity points. So, Okay, so sanity is equal to my original POW, which is 50. Not a whole lot of sanity there. Again, this is tracking. So, it's tracking. Okay, so we have a SAN. I have a SAN of 50, and my beginning magic points are the same as the value you've just assigned to POW divided by 5. So magic is 10 because it's SAN divided by 5, and that gives me 10. 50 divided by 5 is 10. If my math is ever off, please let me know. But I'm trying to keep this simple. Okay, so we now have all of my target numbers for my characteristics. I have my sanity for what it's worth, and I have my magic points. It is time to move on to the next. Number 134. Let's head to the next page. Next section, 134. What to do? I think it's right about here. There we go. Now it's another split page one. Okay. The coach putters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his window, and by switching seats, you can find a spot where the breeze hits your face. As someone who gets motion sickness riding in long car rides, that is everything. I soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at one settlement and gives me a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. She's probably the lucky one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with the glorious reds and golds. I've just begun to doze off when the driver takes a tight bend at speed. Oh, that is not good. Okay. It is now having me add size and con together and divide the total by 10, rounding down from my starting hit points, which I think I'm going to possibly lose a few here. So starting strength is, starting size is 70. I'm going to have quite a bit of hit points here. And my starting con is 50. So that's going to give me 120. And then I'm going to divide that by 10. So that is going to give me hit points of 12, which, if you are not familiar with Call of Cthulhu, with the Social 70, that's a lot of hit points, actually. I know for anybody coming in from Dungeons and Dragons or other similar D20 systems, that's going to seem like first, maybe second level, squishy wizard type level of hit points. But for Call of Cthulhu, having double digit hit points is actually a fantastic thing. So 12 is very nice. I will be grateful for that. I'm sure later on. It just might save me. We'll find out. Okay. Now, luck. Luck is incredibly important because luck is going to allow me the flexibility to possibly save myself in some various roles. So for luck, I need to roll 3d6, and I am going to grab 3 of those fantastic d6 dice that I showed you earlier. These are some of my absolute favorite dice. I absolutely adore these. The Mythos ones are maybe a little hard to read, but they are absolutely worth it because they just get you in the feel for everything. All right, there you go. You gonna blow? Can you blow on those? However they give you luck, give you luck in Vegas. All right, here we go. Ooh, okay, that's a 4, that's a 5, and that is a 3. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not too shabby, really, not too shabby. So we got 12 on our 3d6, and then we are going to times that by 5, which makes it 60. So that is that's a respectable amount of luck. So thanks for your help. Okay. Now we have sanity 50, magic at 10, hit points of 12, and luck of 60. That luck is going to come in handy when I need to modify my rolls. So let's see what happens. Now I must make a roll against my dex, because now I get to see what's going to happen as the bus driver decides to take a turn, a very sharp turn, without slowing down. So I'm going to take my D100, my percentile dice. Oh, and that is the most beautiful way to start this. That is a 10. That is a 10, folks. On a dex, that is an extreme success. So, let's see. If you rolled equal to your dex or less, you pass the roll. If you rolled greater than your dex, you failed. Well, we didn't fail. Not only did I not fail, I got an extreme success. So let's see. It's not going to give me anything extra, but let's see what we can do. If I pass the dex roll, go to 261. Okay, so let's jump down a few pages. 261. Here we go. All right. A desperate yell awakens me. I find myself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. I grab hold of the seat in front just in time to prevent a very painful fall, and the coach comes to stop with a thump. Now I have seen what has happened. Oh. A Fordson tractor stopped in the road and the driver had to swerve to avoid the obstacle. He's leapt from his seat onto the road, unleashing a string of curses at the farmer. I don't blame him. I'm probably saying a few myself. I take a moment to catch my breath. Perhaps I should offer assistance. I mean, I can string together some pretty colorful metaphors, if I say so myself. But the driver has already returned onto the bus, so my moment has passed. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. Yeah, I would too. Damn, I wonder what happened to all my luggage. Hopefully it's all there. All right, up to 71. The journey resumes. The driver takes the curves with a little bit more caution than he did before, glancing over his shoulder at me a couple of times. Sorry about before, he says. That fella was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name? Well, I give him my name, just kind of cautiously and quietly. My name's Lisbeth. Thank you for avoiding that. That could have been pretty ugly. See, the accident was at least as much Silas's fault than the farmer's, but it doesn't seem shrewd of me to antagonize the man while he's driving through the middle of nowhere and me being the only passenger. And welcome to my character, Lisbeth. The coach turns onto a narrow road which weaves uphill through woodland. Unfortunately for my Silas decides to become chatty. Going to Arkham, eh? Can't say I've ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once, didn't like it. Too much hustle and bustle. You got family there? So special someone waiting for you. I just want to sit and enjoy the countryside. The travel has been tiring. But there's always one that's gotta talk. Oh well, he's driving. I'm not. I'll take it. The afternoon is wearing on. I see no harm in confiding with Silas about my new life. What else have I got to do? I'm headed for a job. Yeah, Arkham. End of the line. But, who knows? New start. Always good, right? A job, eh? What's your line of business? Ah, it is giving me 5 choices. An antiquarian, a doctor of medicine, a journalist, a private investigator, or a professor? What do we think, guys? Go ahead, pop it into the chat. Tell me what you think. Which of the five should I be? Antiquarian, doctor of medicine, a journalist, a private investigator, or a professor? Let's see if anybody has any opinions. I don't know, kind of leaning towards the journalist or private investigator just because I think it'd be fun, but I am willing to go whatever you say. Water, hydration, very important tonight. Whether you are drinking or not, get your water in. Journalist, antiquarian. Oh, tough call. Which way to go? Which way to go? Well, I'll tell you what. I have a very special D2, and I absolutely adore this. Again, uh, Black Oak Workshop put this together, and this is, I absolutely adore this. It is a D2. Let's see if you can see it. On one side, it says "Drink Me" for a 1, and on or a 2. So a lovely little clear but sparkly "Drink Me" bottle. So here we go. Number 1 will be the journalist. Number 2 will be the antiquarian, because that also has some possibilities, Kim. It really does. Okay, let's see what we got. And that just went right off of the table. So I do have a second one. And we're going to go with the antiquarian. Okay. Lisbeth is an antiquarian, if I'm even saying that. Yeah. So I'm going to write that down. Antiquarian. Why not? I don't think I've ever played one of those before. So this is going to be fun. Thank you, Kim. Okay. So if I am playing the antiquarian, I am going to number 102. Not too far away. Oops. That's on 2 different pages here. Okay. So I let Silas, the driver, know that I've been offered the assistant's position at Arkham Rare Books and Maps on the strength of a recommendation by a distant friend of the family. I've been thinking about the treasures that must pass through that shop, and it returns some of the excitement I felt upon receiving the letter of appointment. I feel a tingle in my palms, maybe a few other places, because books are everything. I can't wait to get started. Books, eh? Silas takes the conversation no further. I get the feeling he's not much of a reader. That makes sense. Okay, so I'm now being given some more information because further on my character sheet, I would have my skills, and that is, so I think looks like we're getting into those now. So first is my credit rating. My credit rating is how poor or wealthy am I? And right now my credit rating is a 20%. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm poor. I mean, I'm not homeless by any means, but I am not, yeah, I don't make a whole lot of money. I guess that probably all, I'm an assistant. I'm not like the owner or the main antiquarian, I guess, at this shop. So my skills are going to be appraise. That makes sense. Art and craft. So I am going to go, let's do something book related. Art and craft. How about art? And it's going to be basically similar art, art. I believe the Book of Kells was considered medieval period. if I remember correctly. So art of a similar vein of that medieval period. So Celtic art, why not? I'm an antiquarian. That means I'm a book nerd. So we're going to do something fun. So we're going to go with ancient Celtic art. Okay, ancient Celtic art. Why not? History, library use, which makes perfect sense. We have other languages. What do you guys think? Latin? Latin for that? I'm thinking Latin. Latin would make sense for. Okay. Spot hidden. Oh, good. I get something that might actually help me. Might, maybe. And one of. Oh, I get. Okay, I get a choice of one of these four: charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade. What do you guys think? Charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade? Kim, since I took your suggestion, I'm going to go to Tuxedo to say, Tuxedo, tell me, what do you think? Should I take charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade? Persuade? Oh, we got jumping in. We have one vote for persuade. Tuxedo, what do you think? Should we go with that? Well, we're going to go ahead and move on. We'll get that next one. So, Jaren's, yes. Okay. So we will take persuade. All right. I also may pick one other skill except Cthulhu Mythos as a personal specialty. Ooh, one. Okay. So here's my thinking. So options I'm thinking are either are stealth, occult, hmm, intimidate, um, maybe anthropology. I'm thinking, yeah, stealth or occult, probably occult. I'm thinking occult. That would probably make the most sense. Can't have Cthulhu Mythos, but I can at least have occult. I mean, I'm a book nerd. I speak Latin. It occults would seem to work. Okay, so we're taking occult. All right. Now, this again, when you're making a character on the fly or an NPC, this is a if you're going to join in with the ceremony. Absolutely. I should at least look like I know what I'm doing, right? Or at least have an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, so this is so again, just like I did with the characteristics, now I'm going to do with the skills. And in this case, it's a 70%, 60%, 60%, 50, 50, 50, 40, 40. And I have to divide those amongst everything. Obviously, I already have my credit rating at 20 because I'm an assistant and we don't make jack shit. So I'm going to go with this. So let's see, 70, 70, 60, 60, 50, 50, 50, 40, 40. Well, I definitely think I would have a reasonable occult just because having been a bookworm for most of my life, I love just reading up on. I went through a Stephen King phase. Don't judge. I also went through a Dean R. Koontz phase. Definitely don't judge. We don't shame here. We're not shaming. So I'm going to put occult right away at 60%. And then spot hidden, I'm going to go at 60% because I notice details. Me and my neurodivergency. I notice details. Okay. Latin is going to be one of the lowest. That's easy. So that is easily going to be a 40% and probably a praise at 40%. Well, you know what? Let's do art at 40%. I mean, I can kind of do it, but you wouldn't find it in a museum. Okay. So we got our 40% out of the way. We got our 60% out of the way. So now I have a 70% and then I have three 50%. Uh, let's do let's do persuade at 70 and we'll do the rest at 50. And we will go with that. Okay, so our final tally, appraise at 50%, art, which is ancient Celtic art, at 40%, history at 50, library use at 50, Latin at 40, spot hidden at 60, persuade at 70, and occult at 60. There we go. Lisbeth is coming together. Lisbeth, the assistant antiquarian, book nerd, is coming together. And now we have to move on just a couple more spots, and we are headed to 128. Almost there. Here we go. Okay. Now I realize Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way up the hill, but my thoughts are interrupted as the road crests the ridge and I'm treated to the most magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into hazy cloud. There's no settlements, not even a cabin as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops. They're quiet, cheep, cheep, cheep. And I can just make out what might be two white-tailed deer lingering by the nearby water. Perhaps I'm making a mistake moving to the city. I mean, this is nature in all of its glory. It's beautiful and so peaceful and calm. I don't know if I could survive on my own in this kind of wilderness, but there's a part of me that just might be willing to try, assuming I have my books with me. Now that I have the base ability on most of my skills, I am also going to get climb at 20%. Okay. And a base dodge equal to half of my dex. And reminder of my dex is 50, so my dodge is 25. It wants me to choose 4 skills that are not my occupation skills or Cthulhu Mythos. These are my personal interest skills and boost each of them by 20. So most of the investigator skills have a set base already, anywhere from 1%, 5%, 10%, sometimes up to 20 or even 25%. They have a base skill. So in terms of boosting, I just add to that amount to bring them up. So this wants me, this wants me to boost it for them by 20%, by 20. Okay, so we need 4 skills. So here we go. Definitely stealth. I have learned far too often that without stealth, that is just a bad idea. So it has a base of 20, so that's going to go to 40. Okay. Then, ooh. I'm going to go with brawl, actually, with fighting, which is brawl. Yes, that means unarmed hand to hand, which starts at 25. That's going to bring it up to 45 because they can always knock a weapon out of your hand. There's always something that can knock the weapon, improvised or otherwise, out of your hand. But if you build up your brawl as long as, assuming you keep all of your limbs in place, you have a chance. And that's important. Always having a chance. Let's see, what else? What do you guys think? Trying to think here. 4 more. Listen. Ooh, listen. So listen has a base of 20. That gives me a listen of 40. That is important. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to be able to hear things. And ooh, good question. What do we do? One more. One more. That's a good, I don't know. Navigate, no. Pilot, I don't think I have to worry about that. That might be famous last words, but science? That's a 1%. That would give me a 21%. Anthropology would do the same. Archaeology would do the same. Well, disguise, I don't think fits. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, let's go. I think we just did science. I think science. I mean, I've read astronomy. Ooh, astronomy might. Yeah, because I could probably just add to one that doesn't have anything. So I could probably just add astronomy. Astronomy might. I think if I did overall science, that would kind of cover some of the bases. I might be able to kind of stretch that a little bit when it comes to some of the physical sciences, which I believe astronomy kind of works into for when the stars are right. Oh, yeah, we know that's probably going to happen, right? This is a Call of Cthulhu scenario. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, we're going to go with science because it is alone against the flames. Flames tend to deal with, there's science to the flames. So that has a base of 1%. So we're going to bring that up to a 21%. I don't know. It's on the outset. We'll give it a shot. So I now have a dodge of 25, a climb of 20, a stealth of 40, a brawl of 45, a listen of 40, and a science of 21. Okay. I think we are just about there on most of this. Okay. At this point, I can calculate 1/2 and 1/5 values for everything, which I will do as we go through this, because I think I know most of these. So I'm at least going to get halves, and then we can just keep going from there. 30 and 6. 20 and 8. 70 is 35 and 14. 60. See, that's the joy of already doing this. Most of them are already done. It's just a matter of copying them over. Climb 20, 10, and 4. That's 5. I don't even know why I'm calculating. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's a 20 and an 8. And then 45. I'll get to that in a second. I know these 20 and 8. Okay. So brawl is 45. Technically rounded down, that's 22. And then 9. And then the 21 is 10. Oops, whoa, that totally did not work. Okay, is 4, rounded down. Okay. All right, now have all of that done. I'm really not sure there's much left at this point. I'm just writing the ones that I need to write down very quickly. 20, 10, and 4. Okay. All right. Hard successes, extreme successes, all written down and ready to go. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to survive in this lush wilderness. I think we're headed into Arkham. And now I need to go to 144, so just a couple of sections down. Okay, so just in case anybody doesn't know, the skills that I have not chosen, that I have not put any points into, are still, I can still use them. Don't have to actually have taken them or put any extra points into them, as long as there is a base amount, uh, a base target number to it, percentage, I can use it. There's only a few exceptions. Credit rating is one, which I've already been given. Cthulhu Mythos is at a 0%. That cannot be done untrained. And believe me, the training is not really out of the books. It's real life experience. Almost everything else can be. So I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to come across a couple of these that I have not put any points into coming up, and I still will be able to roll with them. So here we go. Let's find out what happens next. Section 144. So the motor coach has rattled on through the hills, and Silas lapses into silence. Blessedly, thank goodness. The skies darken behind me, the pinks tinting the clouds as the sun descends, and finally a welcome sight comes into view. Settlement on the crest of a hill, some sign of civilization. This doesn't look like the pictures I've seen of Ossipee, but perhaps I can persuade Silas to stop and let me stretch my legs, which are probably cramping at this point. But minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts my reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. Silas utters a curse I don't recognize and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. We seem to inch up the hill until we just reach the first buildings, the low dwellings constructed from a rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into the small bay off the road and scrambles from his seat. He makes for the engine compartment. I'll admit, at this point, I'm worried. If this bus is dead on arrival, that means there is no driving this thing out to escape. And I did not take any kind of mechanics or anything like that, so this isn't good. Okay. It is asking me to choose either make a roll against Drive Auto or Psychology. Well, okay. Drive Auto at its base, since I don't have any of these, is 20%, and Psychology is 10%. And since I don't have either of these, I'm going to choose Drive Auto because it's the higher of the two. So here we go. Ouch. And that is a 55 over 20%. I am not spending 2/3 of my luck to bring that down. Not this early. Nope. So I am going to take the failure on that. If I fail my roll, I get to go to number 194. Okay. Oh, what is this going to cost me? I guess we're about to find out. Silas has opened the engine compartment and sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes the various components and then withdraws, wiping his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure. Might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much about it till that engine cools. And with the light failing, I reckon we're here through the night. Oh, goody. This is not going to be good. He wipes his hands on the rag as the shadows from the surroundings start to grow. The air is chilly, and I am so stiff from the journey. A night in a rickety coach sounds incredibly unappealing, especially if you've ever sat in these seats. Ugh. Silas sees my face. This here's Emberhead, miles from any place. I only come through twice a week, but the folks here are good people. Maybe Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley, turn right, first house on the left. Okay. All right. Oh, God. Oh, these chairs can be mighty uncomfortable after several hours. Silas scratches his cheek and looks again into the engine compartment and spits on the ground. Attractive. Meet me back here at 8 tomorrow morning, and we'll see how we stand. Okay, so let's see. I can either challenge Silas about the breakdown and make him see if I can get him to fix this thing tonight, which is probably the semi-smart way to do it. I can ask Silas about where he'll spend the night, or I can look and head over to May Ledbetter's house. To be honest, it has been a very, very long night and a very long day of travel. And having traveled to conventions and slept in cars, like in the seat of the car, I can tell you exactly how uncomfortable at best and how little sleep you get. So, why not? Let's check out May Ledbetter's house and see what happens. So, to look at her house, we are headed to section 267. I grab my suitcases and I drag them through the very sullen looking buildings, feeling surprisingly weary considering I've spent all day sitting down. Oh, that is absolutely 100% happening. Silas's directions, as convoluted and quickly said as they were, lead me to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. A nameplate on it reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in very neat copper plate reads lodging room. Okay. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. Ah, they left a light on for me. How kind of them. Is that the Motel 6? But yeah, who knows? It might be better. Maybe it'll be breakfast. Ooh, breakfast. Coffee. Okay, this will be good. A bed, breakfast, coffee. Okay, we can handle this. A breeze chills my face. I'm not about to begin my new life by sleeping in the street, so, oh goodness, no. So let's knock on the door. Heading to section 4. Oh, all the way back to the beginning. Yes, Happy New Year, East Coast. If you are on the Eastern Seaboard, happy 2025. Welcome to the new year. You're about a few minutes in. How's that new year working for you? Is it okay? It's all good. It's all going well? Hope so. Okay. Excuse me. After a moment, I hear footsteps inside the house. Oh, here she comes. A bolt is drawn back, and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at me. Mm. Her gaze takes in my traveling suit and all of my cases. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. I'm not the best with accents, so I'm going to try this, and if I murder this, please don't murder me. Hello. Should I take it as you be looking for a room for the night? Yes, actually I am. What are your rates? Um, I wasn't really planning on having staying anywhere. I suppress a grimace. As far as I've seen, the village doesn't offer me many alternatives, but it's at least worth asking. Oh, you find them very reasonable. You look tired. I'm May. Come inside and we'll talk over a cup of tea. I'm not sure if that's Irish or what. Okay. The Ledbetter house feels cramped with a low ceiling and simple fittings, but it is well kept and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. Oh, the aroma of tea. Oh, this is soothing. This is balm to my inner soul. And the tea that she hands me, the cup warms every part of my hands. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? Hmm, there's a festival. Oh, this will be fun. Let's ask about the festival because I really don't feel like talking about Silas or the coach. I want to relax. So, to talk about the festival, we are going to go to section 21. Well, now, I suppose the festival is about the only reason folks come to Emberhead. I thought you would maybe come to study it or take photographs. Well, it's not tomorrow night, but the night after. I suppose it looks very strange to a passerby. Ah, more tea. Yes, please. More tea. Ah, drink. Mm, the spout. Tink, tink, against the rim of the cup as she does it. Ah, this feels good. We got the bacon, you see. One night every year, there's a torchlit procession and we light the beacon on the cliffs. You've never seen the likes of it. They say it keeps the spirit of the village alive for another year. It's a celebration. A celebration. A celebration. She trails off for a moment as she blinks. To me, that sounds like tonight. Hogmanay. Hogmanay. Yeah, out in Scotland. Usually in Edinburgh has a torch procession all the way through the town. Unfortunately, this year it was canceled, which is terrible, but it's usually a massive party out there. And one of these days, I would love to go see it. So this is exactly what I'm thinking. Hmm. Oh, but you didn't come here to listen to me blather, and you must be hungry. I can rustle you up a bit of stew. How would that be? Oh, stew is good, but kind of want to get these details worked out, so I ask her again about the rates. And May names a price so low, I would, I'd be stupid to turn her down, so I agree. The room is small but comfortable, and the stew is dark and heavy. Hearty, well, heady. After dinner, I have a couple of hours before my bedtime. Hmm, so maybe I could take a look around. Or I could talk to May some more. Or I could just turn in and get an early night's sleep. I want to know more. Let's talk to May some more. What do you think? Okay, so we're going to go to number 31 to talk to May some more. Always good to talk to the NPCs. They almost always have good information. So May, please tell me. Tell me about this Emberhead and how you came to be here. It seems like such an odd place, such a small, tiny, out of the way place to end up. How did you end up here? Ah, in her letters, my sister always asks if I'm not bored living in such a small place. She lives in New York. Then she writes about how frightened she is to walk home at night. I ask you. It's a small place here, yes, but that means we have real community. Everybody's face is known. Everybody works together. Nobody's excluded. Except those who choose to exclude themselves, of course. I couldn't live anywhere else now. Hmm. As I'm really hoping that maybe my new life in Arkham will be something similar, finding a community to be a part of. I'd really like that. And it is time to make a charm roll. I didn't put any points into charm, so it's a base 15. We will see. Ooch. Nope. No. That is a 69 over 15. So no charm. She is just not paying attention. Okay, I failed, so I'm going to go to section 51. As the hour wears on, I'm amused to hear May transform into some kind of weird, tired tourist guide. Of course, the views from here are spectacular. On a good day, a clear view all the way around. If you're a painter, you'd be right at home. Why, as a matter of fact, I do a little art on the side, May. Thank you. If your taste run more for the artisan, there are workshops on Silbury Street. Just at the end here and turn right. They're not set up for visitors, you understand, but you'll see the real craftsmen at work. The genuine article, I say. Now, if you're looking for freshly baked bread, oh, bread. That sounds good, but now I'm really getting tired. It's getting late. I don't, it seems a shame to point out that I really don't intend to be around for very long, that I plan on being out of here in the morning, so I kind of keep my mouth shut. But then it happens. May begins to yawn. Yes, so maybe I can slip out of here anyway. Oh, would you listen to me yapping? Time to turn in. When would you like your breakfast? Oh, now she's talking my language. But now we have to move on to section 63. May stands up, and I stand up quite quickly after her. But as she stands, I hear a clunk behind me. I look over my shoulder, but all I see is a wooden door. And the wood door looks closed. Don't know where that sound, but it's an old house, so who knows? May tuts. The young lady of the house. She'll have been listening to us. Ruth, get in here, greet our guests. There's a short pause, and the door creaks open. Two wide eyes peer at me from the gap between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Good. Now go back to bed. The door closes again. Ah, my daughter Ruth. 10 years this summer. She is a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry. She sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you. Good night now. May heads out away to the room, and I head to the room that she's pointed the way to. It's a little chilly, but I am too tired to worry about lighting the small fire in, looks like probably a small fireplace or stove. My guess is a small fireplace. I'm too tired. I'm just going to sleep. So I'm going to curl up in bed. The sheets are clean and the bed soon warms up. I'm so tired, but the silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long. It does get very, very quiet when there's nothing and nobody out and around you. But I'm too tired to care. I'm going to go to sleep. And now we go to 154, and we'll see how long I get to stay asleep. I dream of fire in the grate, coruscating colors shimmering through the dancing tongues of flame. At first, They are tiny, almost microscopic, but they grow and grow until a kaleidoscope inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor, up the sheets. It's getting closer. No! I wake up at the start. Daylight glints through the curtains. I get up and examine the grate, blinking the sleep out of my eyes. It's quite cold. Oh, it's fine. Everything is fine. It's fine. It's just a dream. And I go to 166. I get up and move out of the room, or look out the room. I don't see anybody just yet, but on the table in the room, there's a ceramic jug with, well, looks like a basin, a bowl, and a little wash stand. Very, very old fashioned. I don't see anything with any running water, so I'm guessing this is how I'm supposed to clean myself up. Thanks, friends. I'm pretty sure there's a decent chance I'm going to die, but we'll see what happens. Very happy New Year to you. I listen to the sounds outside of the door, and I hear somebody puttering around doing something in the kitchen. It looks, as I come out from my room, freshened up, shaking off the nightmare of the flames coming out of the grate, and head into the warm kitchen. May has cooked a hearty breakfast. She lays it down with a smile on her face and leaves me to eat. It's early. It's about 7:30 by this point, and I've eaten quite a substantial breakfast. But I'm paid up, I'm packed, and I am ready to get out of here and get on with my life. I bid May goodbye, thanking her heartily for the evening lodgings and the delicious breakfast. She wishes me the best for my new career in Arkham, and I head over to the bus. Let's see. I succeeded at a skill roll last night and wish to investigate the results further. I go to 178. Ooh, otherwise go to 192. Well, I did succeed, I do believe. Do I want to explore further? Oh, I think I want to get out of here. I want to get on to my new life. But I have a feeling something else is going to stop me. But let's see what Silas is doing, shall we? My heavy bags are just that. They're heavy, and I am tired of them. I want to put them away, and I want to get on this bus. I want to know that it's working, and I want to get out of here. Hopefully, Silas has repaired the motor coach, and I can resume the journey. You know, he's a sourpuss, but the old driver seems to understand his vehicle well enough. I check my watch. I'm 20 minutes early. Oh, goodness. Oh, that's a first. But then again, I got an earlier start than I expected, so. And I come around the corner. And the coach is gone. There is no coach. I've been abandoned here. Okay. So I put my bags down and I searched the area, trekking up and down the slopes and around the corners. I am looking for tracks. I am looking for anything that, any sign of this coach. Are you kidding me? He fixed the coach and he ups and leaves me here? Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I don't know. What am I going to do? Oh, this is great. This is just fabulous. And as I'm trying to ponder and trying to figure out my way around, a passing villager notices my bags. Are you looking for the bus? I heard him take off at first light. He's due back in 3 or 4 days. If you need a place to stay, May Ledbetter rents a room. The man raises his hat to me and strolls on into the village. Motherfucker. Are you kidding me? 3 to 4 days? I don't want to be here for 3 or 4 days. I want to get to Arkham. Okay. I gotta think about this. Maybe he had to go get parts. He's not gonna find parts here in the town. No, he's not gonna find parts here. That's it. Maybe he went to town to find parts for the motor coach. He wouldn't just leave me here. I bought a ticket. Okay, we're just, that's what we're gonna go with. Okay. I can't imagine. Or he just got, I wasn't talking enough or anything else. And he would, no. He wouldn't just leave me. He wouldn't just leave me. He's gone to go get parts. I think that is a good idea. And to find out, we are going to 218. So I pick up my bags and I head back to May Ledbetter's. Turns out she's doing laundry and she looks very surprised to see me again. Forgot something? Yeah, not exactly, May. It's more like something forgot me. The driver is not there, and neither is the motor coach. I'm guessing maybe he needed to go get parts for the motor coach. I don't know what to do now. Ah, not a problem. I'll keep your bags while you figure out something different. It's no bother. That'd be great. If I don't have to carry these around, I am perfectly happy. And I am glad to hand her the bags. She takes them into her house, and I turn around and look at the town, trying to figure out what to do next. Nobody here has a car, anything like a car. Maybe you could find somebody with a horse and cart for your bags. I could ask around later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He'll know if anyone will. Or ask among the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Salisbury Street. She reaches over, squeezes my wrist. Don't worry. I won't see you sleeping in the street, money or no money. Oh, thank you, May. You are a blessing. I will head to the village hall, or at least into town, into the village. There's not really town. Okay, let's head into town and go to section 6. So I start wandering the street of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind, though I am keeping in mind what May has told me. The village is built on a relatively flat upland with splendid views. To the north, the hazy tips of the white mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, the sparkling waters of Lake Winnipesaukee, Winnipesaukee touch the horizon. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. I've arrived on the winding road to the west, while the other road leaves to the south, following a lower ridge of land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village, there's an open grassy space bordering a ruined church, its graveyard cresting the cliffs. To the northeast, the three main thoroughfares meet at a raised black metal structure. It looms stark against the blue sky. Oh, now for a choice. Do I go to the general store to see about transportation? Do I seek out the village hall and I think it was Mr. Winters? Do I walk down to the lower level and check out the eastern road? Do I examine the large metal structure? Explore the church? Or look for local people with their own transport needs? Several choices. Which way to go? Well, I definitely don't want to have to stay. So finding transportation seems to be a good option. But let's see. I'm kind of curious. I don't know entirely what's going on, but I think she suggested Mr. Winters at the village hall. So I think we will start there and then maybe explore a little bit while I'm sure I'm going to be waiting for somebody to show up with something. And who knows, Silas could be bringing the motor coach back. So I might as well talk to a few people, see what kind of alternative transportation may be available, if any, because I can always go wandering later. So that means we are going to seek out the village hall, and that means going to section 84. Oh, went a little too far there. Hmm. 84. Here we go. The village hall backs against a cliff at the east end of Salisbury Street. It's the largest building I've seen so far in Emberhead. It is, however, locked and shuttered. This isn't going to be easy. So I walk around it, peering through the gaps in the shutters. There seems to be one large room, presumably for community meetings, and a smaller annex which serves as an office and archive. One of the windows is bricked up. But back at the main door, I don't see any hours posted. Doesn't look like it's been open for some time. Mr. Winters doesn't open up mornings this time of year, says a gray-garbed woman passing by. Best come back this afternoon. Really? Do you know if the office has a telegraph or some means of communication? Don't know. Who would we call? Okay. Well, that tells me a lot. Now it wants me to go to 25 to find out what happens next. So I'm beginning to get my bearings here in Emberhead. Obviously, this is a dead end. Let's see. What could I do next? Could go to the general store. Might be something or somebody there. Could go check the Eastern Road and see if maybe Silas is maybe coming back. I don't know which road he took. There's a structure. I don't know if that's what that is. You could go explore the church or see if there's anybody else who might have a car or horse and cart. Let's give one last shot at trying to see if we can get alternative transportation out of here. Um, so we're going to go to number 96. So now I'm not far from the Ledbetter house on the north side of Silbury Street. There's an open courtyard here. The rhythmic tattoo of a hammer seems to announce my approach. The courtyard is the busiest location I've seen yet in Emberhead. Things are actually happening. People are here. It's bordered by a ring of workshops. Some are brick buildings, some only rough huts. A blacksmith ceases to hammer, thrusting something red and glowing into a bucket of cold water. A weaver looks up from his loom, blinking at me for a moment before returning to his shuttle. A potter, engraver, and carpenter each work in their own space, exchanging friendly banter. This feels kind of like my kind of people, people who are creating and doing things and, you know, enjoying their work. I don't know. Maybe this might actually hold some possibility. I move among the artisans, chatting to them about their work. Finally, I start to ask the question of export, i.e., getting out of here, or how did they get in and out from the town? They can't possibly stay here the whole time. It seems that some of them send the packages with their products or their work with Silas in the motor coach. Okay, that makes sense. Some restrict their custom entirely to villagers. Really? You just make stuff for the people here. Okay, all right. But nobody seems to have, or at least offer, um, any type of alternative transportation. Nobody seems to leave. Make a psychology roll. Okay. Guess I should have taken psychology. It's a base of 10, so wish me luck. Oh, nope. That is a 91. That is not nearly a fumble, but it does not. I do not succeed. So it wants me to go back to 25. Okay, well, not going to get anything out of that. So I think at this point, I feel like there is no alternative transportation out of here. So that means I am waiting until the motor coach gets back. Lovely. Okay, well, I might as well go down and look at the Eastern Road and just, I know it's kind of one of those where you kind of look down the road and you kind of, or the tracks or whatever, and you kind of wait until you expect it to like show up. So let's go check that out. Okay. So far I've tried the village hall. So I'm going to write these down because I was told very specifically that I should be keeping track of where I go. So we've tried the village hall, which isn't open. I've tried to talk to the local people. That has not done anything. And now I'm going to check down the Eastern Road. So that is number 115. The air is fresh as I walk down to the lower ridge. I've noticed cultivated fields stretching through the lowlands around Emberhead, and among the crop, some livestock, but no horses. This is really beginning to look like I might have to hoof it, which, that is such a long way. And with those cases, Uh, I don't want to hike. I didn't, I didn't wear the shoes for it. Further down, I noticed that the road skirts the edge of the ridge and then descends. There are a few scattered hovels here with signs of habitation, and but they are set a substantial distance apart. I guess if you're going to come and become a hermit, but not totally alone, this would be the place to do it. As I'm watching them, I see a door open and an older man steps out. He's wearing a bedraggled suit but carries a piece of cloth which he tosses over his head like a hood. As he does this, he sees me and he freezes. Oh, and the first luck roll of the game. Whew, remember, a luck of 60. So here we go. And I am not lucky. I think my dice need some work. That is a 79 over 60. Did not make that luck roll. So with that, we're going to section 135 to find out my fate. The strange man breaks into a run, fleeing from me along the ridge. His gait is lopsided, but his movements have a maniacal intensity. I'm going to chase after him. So that, because I want to know what's going on. And that takes me to section 150. So I bolt from the road and I pursue the man, feeling the wild grass snatching at my feet. He sprints around the ridge, attempting to elude me behind the very rocks that support the metal structure high above. Oh, to catch him, I have to make an opposed roll with your versus, yeah, versus his dex. Man has a dex of 38 and scores a hard success on the roll of 19 or under, an extreme success on a roll of 7 or under. Make the man's dex roll and then make my dex roll. Okay. So he has a dex of 38. I am rolling for the strange man. And he gets an 82, so he does fail. Well, it's not really a failure, but yeah, he doesn't succeed. So my dex is a 50. Ooh, and that is a 10. And that is an extreme success. So definitely I win the opposed skill roll. So that wants me to go to number 172. I draw close to the man. He glares over his shoulder and sees me. Damn you! He spits and he slows down. Can't you leave a fellow be? But I I don't mean you any harm. I just want to talk. Please. He stops and he looks at me, glaring, but he stops and like he's thinking for a moment. We can't talk here. Follow me. And I follow him to number 142. So I follow him around the outcrop. He glances up and then steps between two rocks and then vanishes. He just vanishes. He disappears. As I look closer, it looks like, oh, there's a narrow channel leading into the cliff. There's just enough light for me to see a small natural chamber within. It was just an illusion, but a pretty good one. Well, if I go inside, I am going to be really close to this guy. Really uncomfortably close. But I need to find out what's going on. It's just, how can you have a village with no transportation? No one wants to leave, and no horses, even though I was told the horse and carriage? Something's wrong. So we're going to follow him because why not? So we're going to follow him to 191. So warily and stepping carefully, I squeeze between the rocky outcrops and enter the concealed chamber. I almost bang my head on the low ceiling. It's so snug. The man has settled back against the wall and watches until I get close. Then he slides back his hood. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the first sanity roll of the game. As a reminder, I only have a SAN of 50. Let's find out. And that is a 54. So obviously I fail just by a hair. So it is time to start taking SAN away. I lose one SAN, bringing me to 49. And then I get to go to 199 and find out what we see. Some of the man's face remains. A strip from the side of his jaw to the right eye socket is healthy and pale, if a bit aged, but the left side is consumed by angry scar tissue. One eye droops, hooded by melted flesh, and the nostril on that side is pulled open to reveal a gaping hole. The disfigured man looks at me, studying my reaction with his one good eye. I try as hard as I can to keep the disgust off my face, but more than likely fail. Name's Abergast. Willard Abergast. Guess I don't need to ask what brings you to Emberhead. Why do I have a feeling that he was also on that motor coach at some point in the past and was left there? But do I tell him that? Do I admit that I was stranded, or do I just say I was here for the festival? No, I think in this case, truth is going to win out, because looking him over, I'm pretty sure that he's not like an actual like resident wanting to be here. There's something about it that just feels off. Okay, Silas has stranded me here, so that's what I'm going to tell him. So we're going to go to 214. So I explain the situation in my showing up here, the motor coach breaking down, me spending the night at May Ledbetter's, and waking up even earlier than I expected to, just to find out that I'd been stranded here. But of course, I'm probably not stranded here. I'm sure he just went to the nearest town, which can't be anywhere close, just to get some parts, right? My eyes practically plead with this man for him to acknowledge that I must be right on that fact. But his swollen mouth gives a little twist downward. Son of a bitch has rat's blood. His fingers tighten into a fist. And 221. Abergast fixed me with his lopsided but intense stare. You seek me out, eh? He looks up at the cave ceiling. Which one of them told you about me? Never mind. It don't matter. The truth is, they fear what I know. They'll never come at me direct. Don't want to end up like old Arbogast. Oh, that laugh. The high-pitched sound is all the more grotesque coming from those bloated lips. Then, abruptly, his gaze turns to iron. Emberhead died 40 years ago. shattered by flame, consumed by the stars themselves. The ancient hill was cleansed by inferno, and from the blackened ground came new life, as is the way of all things. The Abankai knew. Abergast wipes his nose on his sleeve. Except none of that happened. The flames were turned away, the necessary death postponed a year, and a year again. And now those up there, as he stabs a scrawny finger at the ceiling, think themselves saviors of the village, think they can defy the old ones. He shakes his head. With strange eons, their lives matter less than the blink of an eye. A fierce intelligence burns in his gaze. But I think Arbogast may be quite off his rocker. Should his mood change, it would not be difficult for him to seize one of those loose rocks and crack my skull with it. So I think if I keep him talking just a little bit while I try to slip out of here, it might be a good idea. Oh, excuse me. So let's ask him. Let's ask him about the Abenaki? Is it Abenaki? I'll admit I'm not entirely sure. The Abenaki. So 227. The Abenaki? He frowns. They knew this land and cherished it. They lived here in harmony for their allotted time. Air and earth, fire and water. They accepted every daybreak as a gift, and they trod lightly on the land. Yet we came and we ended them. Their time is past, and now ours too must end. Arbogast runs a hand through his hair. A wide strip is missing off the left side, displaced by scar tissue. He climbs to his feet, and we head to 259. He stands and pauses in the shadows. There's something about you. Something the previous ones never had. Perhaps you can make it through. If you want to hear more, meet me again after dark. 9 o'clock, the graveyard on the other side. He lifts a gnarled finger to my face. Don't be followed, else I won't be there. This ain't the time of year for a showdown. He wipes his nose again on his sleeve. Go! Now their eyes are on me, and stranger, don't try to run. You'll never make it. I carefully take a few steps back, though I am trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. I emerge into the sunlight, blinking and more than a little shaken. And I am going to note that I have discovered a secret, which will come into play later down the line. And it says, at that point, if you want to meet with Arbogast again, add 20 to your current entry number and go to that new entry. So we are going to add 20 to that new entry when that comes up. But for now, I go to section 160. As I blink back, I head back towards the road and on to my core business, getting the hell out of Emberhead and on to Ossipee. The ridge gives me a good viewpoint from which I can see the course of the road. I see it winding with the hills, disappearing into woodland for a while before emerging further on. But I lose sight of it somewhere towards a second patch of woodland. Best I can tell, That's at least 6 or 7 miles distant, and I don't see any other settlements or traffic. I mean, I could try to take the chance in walking. The weather is still pretty mild, but I'd need some supplies. And what about my bags? I mean, those suckers are heavy, and I really, really don't want to have to carry them all that way. But obviously, whatever is going on here, yeah, I don't think I want to be a part of it. So we are going to move on to section 25 and see what my options are. Well, we've been to the village hall, we've talked to the local people, we've checked out the East Road, which was very interesting. I got one more shot. I think the general store. If I need supplies, the general store is it. So we're going to head to the general store, which is going to take me to section 16. The general store is on a corner beside the main road, just before it plunges to the south. The shopkeeper is a brisk, immense lady with a starched apron and strong shoulders. She looks hard at my unfamiliar face. Transport? There's a motor coach that comes through twice a week. Missed it? Truck brings in my supplies every second Tuesday, but he's not due till next week. She shrugs. Great. That's even longer. It seems Emberhead is content to keep its distance from the outside world, and me right there along with it. Well, let's see. I have just enough money to buy 1 or 2 inexpensive everyday items from the general store. What do I buy? It's 1927, by the way. So it's not like it has a bunch of weapons, except maybe a hunting knife. It maybe general stores would probably have a little bit of everything. Some canned goods, some bags of maybe some feed, or if there's any fruit or whatnots, might be dried fruit at this point if she only gets deliveries every couple of weeks. So let's see. At least probably a hunting knife might not be a bad idea, because I'm seriously doubting that I brought one with me. So we will say a hunting knife. Because those are handy no matter what I do. And if I am going to have to walk 3 or 6 or 7 miles, maybe a canteen. I should be able to, there's probably water, like some kind of well water or something in the area. I mean, they don't have running water, but they got to get their water from somewhere. So more than likely it's a well. And if it's a well, then I can get some well water. And a canteen would probably be good. And this is, I would guess, probably something that they might have. So, and while a person can live without food for like a week, they can't live without water for more than a couple of days. So, canteen and hunting knife. And more than likely, stuff like that would probably, I'm going to take a guess that is probably here. So, okay. Hunting knife and small canteen. And then we go on back to number 25. Now, I've been to the village hall, the local people, the East Road, and the general store. And according to this, once I have tried 4 options, I go to number 3. So that is where I'm headed now. Section 3. My morning exertions have left me very hungry. I've roamed the streets of Emberhead, and I'm now looking for some kind of sustenance. Well, I'm at the general store, so on top of all that, there's probably some dried fruit. Um, I mean, I don't know if she'd have fresh, but there's probably some, I mean, there are artisans, and May Ledbetter did say something about getting bread. So I'll grab, I don't know, a loaf of bread. Yeah, a loaf of bread. And I don't know if she'd have cheese, maybe some, there's probably some, I don't know, maybe an apple. That'll work. Half a loaf of bread and an apple, and so I can munch. Uh, and as I leave the general store, I notice May Ledbetter coming down the street with a girl trailing in her wake. That must be Ruth, the little, the eyes that I saw through the door the night before. She notices me. As Ruth notices me, she races past her mother and approaches me with a smile. This is a very different Ruth than I noticed. She's not shy. The little child comes right up to me and smiles. She reaches me, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration and looks up into my eyes. And then abruptly the smile drops from her face and she looks several years older. "Get out before the festival!" she hisses. "Get out! Get out! Get out!" And she blinks hard, scuttles back towards her mother. Didn't think I had that effect on children. May approaches, wrapping her arm around her daughter's shoulders and smiles. "How do you get on? Have you found transport?" Startled, I explain that I have not been able to find anything. No sign of horses. Nobody seems to have a car. The only other delivery or transportation or anything else seems to come from the delivery for the general store, and except for the motor coach. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He's always in the afternoons. You'll be hungry by now. Help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked. I glance at Ruth, where she has scrolled herself behind her mother's leg, and her eyes implore me to stay silent. Okay then. Oh, do I ask? No, I don't think I will. So I'm going to say nothing. And I'm going to go to 22. I take my leave of the Ledbetters and head towards the house. The door opens easily, and I head into the warm kitchen. From there, I make a meal of the stodgy bread and leftover stew. Okay, so I don't have to worry about the loaf of bread and apple. A little window offers me a beautiful view of the mountains. If I've learned one thing this morning, it was that Emberhead streets hold little to occupy this visitor from out of town. But I still have 5 hours of daylight remaining. I could take some of the leftovers and my provisions that I bought at the general store and maybe a few things from my luggage and set out in the hopes of reaching another settlement before dark. Or maybe I could go ask advice from this Mr. Winters that May really wants me to talk to. Don't know. I probably should gather my supplies though. If I gather my stuff up and prepare to start leaving town, because if I have to walk, I might as well get as much walking in as I can, but while there's still light. If there's still 5 hours of sunlight, I at least have a chance. It will suck, but I do. So I am going to gather up some of the food stuff. I will find some kind of, I'm sure that maybe there's a basket or some type of, uh, if anything, a bandana or whatever that I can put some food stuff together in. I will go find my bags. I will take them into the room that I was in, open them up. I will grab um, a small change of clothes and um, maybe just a couple of absolute basic like toiletries, toothbrush and toothpaste and maybe deodorant, just the basics. And I know I used to camp a lot, so I kind of have an idea of how to spread out a long sleeve shirt, especially a button down shirt, and kind of turn it into a pack of sorts. So I kind of bind everything together on that into one thing and kind of make a little sling pack. And I am going to head out of town if they'll let me. So, and that's going to take me to number 28. So I grab some money. I put some water into my canteen. I have my hunting knife, make up some sandwiches. Um, I grab the few things out of my pack and I write May Ledbetter a note explaining the situation and that I will return for my bags as soon as I absolutely can. The sky is flecked with clouds but shows no imminent sign of rain, and there's still plenty of sunlight. A couple of villagers watch as I descend on the southern road and follow it around to the east. And I was told to keep track of where I went. The black metal structure looms on the promontory above. I shiver as I pass the lower huts and head out of Emberhead. After the miserable enclosed streets of Emberhead, I am refreshed by the open air and sense of progress. An hour later, however, the empty road ceases to be a novelty. I've just entered the first patch of woodland when I hear an eerie, lilting howl from the north. Well, that would be a wolf. I mean, that makes sense. It's the woods. But a natural world roll. And since I don't have that, that's a 10% that I would have to reach, and that is absolutely not going to do it with a 94. So again, not a fumble, but not a success by any means. So I'm going to fail, and I'm going to go to 41. I hesitate. I've grown up in the familiar landscape of a town, not the wilderness. I do not have survival. This is not something I am used to. Wild animals are a little outside of my experience. But do I go on or do I go back? I don't know. There's a crazy person in Emberhead. Nobody seems to have transportation. I just want to get to another town, or at least to find some traffic on the road to maybe help me get back to another town and get all this worked out. So I am going to press on. So that takes me to section 54. A second call answers the first, but it sounds further away. I follow the road through the woodland. Branches lean over the road. The foliage is quite beautiful, from gold to russet and a deep, rich red. Fallen leaves crunch beneath my feet. After about half an hour, I emerge from the trees. The road makes a lazy curve around the foothills ahead into another patch of woodland. A rough track seems to offer a shortcut through the woods. Well, I could head up the hill to see if I can what I can see. I can try the track, or I can stick with the safety of the road. Oh, I love how they put that. The safety of the road. Mm. It's there are things out here I don't know. It's quiet. There's no traffic on the road. And if I just maybe if I can get a high enough, I can see what's going on. So let's head up the hill to try to spot another settlement, or at least get an idea of the lay of the land. So that's number 60. The gentle incline is misleading. It always is. And my forehead is damp by the time I reach the top of the hill. I'd probably be out of breath. I'm sweating. Everything would hurt. I'd probably regret that decision already. But I get to the top and I pause for a moment, getting my breath back and looking east. The valley ahead is thick with forest, though I catch glimpses of a narrow waterway. There's still no signs of any settlement. That might be something on the horizon. A spire, maybe? But it is surely another 8 or 9 hours walk away. I look back at Emberhead. The hilltop village is black, a rough silhouette against the shimmering orb of sunset. I must make an archaeology roll. I gotta make one of these at some point. The dice are just not with me today. Come on. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better. That's a 9 on archaeology. And since I don't have archaeology, but that's an 01. Really? Archaeology is an 01. And I get a 9. Yeah, that figures. So I guess that is a failure, even though it should not be. Okay. You know what? It's a 9 to 01. So I am actually going to spend luck and actually make that succeed, because come on. So from 60, I'm going to spend, that's a 9, so I need to spend 8 luck. Okay, so that brings me my luck to 52. We're spending luck. Screw this. Okay, so we're going to go to 66 instead. I didn't see what the other one said, so. Okay. The position of the sun bothers me. It reminds me of something I read in one of the journals, an article about stone circles somewhere in England. I check my position with the mountains in the north, closing my eyes to visualize the layout of Emberhead from my explorations this morning. The metal structure is the key, positioned on the bluff as it is. Yes, yes, it seems entirely possible. I can't be sure without taking proper bearing and consulting the tables, of course. But if my guess is correct, I'm pretty sure it is, the central thoroughfare in Emberhead is positioned so that during the summer solstice, the rays of the rising sun will shine through the metal structure and directly down the center of the street. Reminds me of that spot in New York, that one time of year right around, I think it's around the solstice, where it's that the sun hits just right. Okay, this may be wild speculation, but something about this feels right. Feels like this, I'm on to something. Okay. So I'm actually succeeded at archaeology. Yay. All right, so now I go on to 79. I go down the hill, much easier than going up, but I take it carefully because now I know how steep it actually is. And I return to the road and resume my walk east. At least I think I'm heading east. I hope I'm heading east. The curves of the road become disorienting when the light begins to fade. Clouds hide the stars. It seems if I reach another settlement, it definitely won't be before dark. And I am getting bone weary tired. The air is cooling off and the light is dimming. And now I need to make a listen roll. Listen was at, oh, I'm so glad I brought that up. It's at 40. And that is an 8. Oh, yes. In fact, that is an extreme success. Yay. It's like there's nothing in between tonight. It's either I'm failing or I'm getting really, really good rolls. I don't know what it is. But okay, I succeed because it said if make a hard listen roll. Well, I made an extreme, so that definitely counts. So on to section 240 to find out what I hear. Ooh, all the way almost towards the bottom. Okay, you hear something from the road behind you. Oh, oh, lovely. It is a dull clunk, perhaps a dead branch falling. Dead branches don't clunk, do they? I pause, but the sound does not repeat. I retrace a few paces and look down the road, but there is nothing to see. And I get to check next to listen. And now I go to 234. Another cry splits the gloom. It is the same unearthly call you heard when you entered the first patch of woodland, but this time with a grating undertone that makes you shiver. It seems closer. I think I'm gonna die in these woods. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have a choice. I can either take refuge in a tree for the night, or I can keep walking. It's dark. There are weird noises happening. Oh, do I keep going? Because it's dark and I know there's nothing nearby. So if I keep going, I'm keeping going in the dark. Or I crawl up into a tree and hope for the best. I don't know. I can't see. I'm tired. I'm stressed out and weird things are happening. But staying in one place is usually never a good idea. So I'm going to keep walking. So that's going to take me to 215. Unappealing as it is to keep walking in the dark, the idea of hiding up a tree while potentially wild animals congregate to plan your slaughter is even less appealing. 100%. Sooner or later, this road must lead you to another settlement. You step up the pace. Yes, I do. And I pull my hunting knife and have that in one of my hands. And now I go to 264. The eerie howls draw closer. They come from either side. One calls and is answered by the grim chorus, thick and hungry. They have a strange, desperate edge. You are walking as fast as you can now. You hear your own breath coming hard. The trees in this area are too young to support your weight. Perhaps you should just run, but how long could you run before you had to stop? A clump of low, dark bodies slink from the trees, blocking the road ahead. Each silhouette has high, pointed ears. Their eyes glint in the moonlight. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm so gonna die. Sanity roll. And remember, my sanity is 49 at this point. Oh. That is an 84. Of course not. I fail, so I get to go to number 5. All the way back towards the very, very, very beginning. Oh, maybe I should have explored more. Maybe I should have gone to see Mr. Winter. Maybe I should have gone and checked out the big thing at the top. I have a feeling I'm not going to find out a whole lot of info because I'm going to die. Okay. The beast fan out around me, and black fear rises in my chest. One darts close, snapping and hissing. I lash out with my foot as it pulls back its head with a snarl of hatred. Their thick musk fills my nostrils as they circle, waiting for the moment to strike. And the animals ignite around me. What? They I stare as they light up like candles, red and purple flames licking their fur. Those terrible eyes stare through a curtain of fire, flesh and fat consumed by their unnatural blaze. And they howl, their hunting calls twisted into a fierce dirge of pain. I turn away, grasping at the gasping in the thick fumes, haunted by the shrieks of the beast as I grope through the young trees. My vision blurs and swims, my legs are weak. I lose 1 point of sanity. And I go to section 13. The skin on my face feels warm. There is a mattress beneath me. What? I blink against the sunlight. A blurred figure swims in my vision. You're awake? Oh, it's May Ledbetter. As I shift, my pain racks my body. I feel bruised. My head throbs and May comes into focus. You're lucky to be alive. A farmer found you in the small hours, lying on the road. Patched you up and brought you back on his cart, he did. Said you were in the middle of the woods somewhere. Best take it easy today. I'll look in on you later, love. The farmer and his cart are long gone, of course. Of course. I snooze for a little longer. I get 1 hit point back, which I don't need, I guess. And now I go on to 64. The Ledbetter kitchen is empty when I finally stumble my way out of the room and into it. But there are bread and eggs have been laid out for my breakfast. There's a note from May explaining that she has taken Ruth out for a few hours. That's good. Sustenance and time. On to 78. Once I finish breakfast and I clean up, because that is it's just habit, I'll head out the door and take a quiet circuit of the village, pausing in unobtrusive places to watch the villagers. It's all rather busy for this time in the morning. Yawning locals stream back and forward along the roads, carrying bundles of split logs to the site of what I've already heard referred to as the beacon. I see 2 figures are already up in its superstructure, arranging the wood. Ah, the festival bonfire. Yeah, it's a festival, so of course the bonfire has to be very impressive. But we know whatever's going on here isn't right. And the things that I saw last night in flames, the burned man that I came across, the warning to leave before the festival. I don't think I want to see what happens when that goes ablaze. So I head back to May Ledbetter's. And I'm curious. I need to find out. Just before I go, curiosity takes the better of me. And I'm going to go search May Ledbetter's bedroom for just a little bit more information and maybe something that will, I don't know, help me out of here. And that means I'm going to 83. Despite her hospitality, I do not trust May. She is far, far too kind and far too concerned with me to not be concerned about what's going on. I don't trust this. So, as she's left her home quite open, I'm going to go check out her room. I rap on the bedroom door just to make sure she's not there, and then I ease the door open. The Ledbetter bedroom is in marked contrast to my own, the neat little bedroom that I've been using. The dirty clothes are piled about on the floor. On a rough quilt lie school books and cheap novels, and I notice a raggedy old doll discarded down the side of the bed. And now I get to use my spot hidden, of which I have a 60, so I better get this. I want to get this. Please let me get this. Just barely. That is a 57 under 60. So that is a success, and I need to go to 95 to see what I found. I notice scrapes on the floorboards corresponding to the legs of the bed. Ah. With effort, I slide the bed away. Even with the pain and aches of my body, I still manage. There's a rug spread beneath it, and beneath the rug, as I flip it back, because it always is in the stories, there's a trap door underneath. And I quietly and gently ease it open. Underneath is a dark space. It seems like it's some kind of cellar. And we're going to go in because choosing the more dangerous path is always fun. And that's going to take me to 114. The daylight barely offers enough illumination to see, but I don't want to try to light up anything to see any better, because if anyone shows up, I'd have a hard time explaining it. I'm already going to have a hard time explaining it. So I squeeze beneath the floor and I glance around. My first impression, I see, is that May keeps her junk here, for there are lots of boxes, different sizes, piled in untidy heaps. It takes a few seconds before I realize those aren't just boxes. Those are traveling trunks, suitcases. There's like 20 of them. Oh shit. I freaking knew it. I freaking knew it. Oh. The implication hits me hard, yet I've maintained enough control to check the luggage tags. I count 8 or 9 different names before I just stop. Scrambling back up the bedroom, I'm out of here. This is confirmation of everything bad going on. I'm out of here now. And I close the trapdoor with trembling fingers, putting the rug back over it, straightening it all out, moving the bed into its place, my pains and aches completely ignored, and I move on to number 120 to see what happens. That deepening unease about Emberhead and the festival has just exploded in my brain. It's like confirmation and validation all at once, but it's when you really, 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 really don't want to be right, and you are anyway. So I have, looks like 3 options. But I have done all of those. Looks like I have done all of them. I have 3 options. The one thing I haven't done is I haven't spied on the activity at the beacon, but I've already attempted 3 of those options. So uh, I need to go to number 98. So as I get out of the bedroom and I head out of the whole out of May Ledbetter's house, and I'm standing there trying to figure out what I want to do next, I see one of the villagers, a bald man with a damaged ear, watching me intently. Some instinct makes me walk in the other direction. Yeah, I think they know that I know. Something's just telling me. Then I see others ahead and on my sides, a wary teenager, an evil-eyed matron, a man hefting a club. They're not staring as obviously as the first, but they're keeping me under watch, and they are closing in. I cannot hope to overcome 4 of them at once, as I'm pretty sure that my hunting knife disappeared back in the forest. In fact, I'm pretty sure most of my supplies that I brought with are probably not to be found, and I'm going to go under that assumption. So I have 2 options. Both of them are basically running. Either I can try to run the other direction and just completely outrun them, or I can try to run in through the village and lose them amongst the buildings. Well, they know this town and they know the town better than I, but a straight out run, I have a feeling may or may not be a good idea. Ooh, um, my dodge is only 25, but I have a stealth at 40. I am going to try to run amongst the buildings. So that's going to take me to 158. I dart down an alley. I turn and head in a completely different direction. I take off. I keep moving and I try to outwit them. I hear the sound of running feet behind me. For the first time, I really get the feeling how cramped and chaotic the streets are in Emberhead, but how that works in my favor. I try to circle around towards the southern road, and now I'm going to make a stealth roll. I'm so glad I bought that up. Oh, please, please, please. Stealth is at 40. And that is a 49. And I am definitely going to be spending 9 points of luck to be able to buy that up. So that takes me down to 43. So that I'm going to call it as a success. Going to mark that I succeeded on that, and I'm going to go to number 7. All the way back to the top. It's not that far. There it is. As I approach the southern road that descends to the lower ridge, I see 4 villagers blocking the route with farm tools and clubs. Fuck! Gah! Damn it! I veer off and I head down the west road. My heart sinks as I see exactly the same scene at the other exit from the village. Fuck! Fuck! And I'm trapped. Ugh. So now I have two choices: to try to talk my way past one of the guard groups, or try to slip past in disguise. Or do I know another way to leave the village? Ooh, I don't know if I know another way to leave the village. Um, I don't offhand, but I don't have the disguise, so I'm going to try to talk my way past because I have a pretty damn good persuade. So that is going to take me to number 119, and pray it allows me to make a persuade roll because that I could probably do. Nope, it wants me to do fast talk. Um, the southern group appears less sharp than the western group. You stride up to them and explain they are needed at the beacon. They look dubious. I offer to watch the road for them, and I hold out my hand for a pitchfork. Please, let me watch the road. I know I can do it. It's not a problem. I'm sure other things are going to happen. I'm sure you're needed up at the pile, um, the bonfire, to help with the bonfire. I could do this. It's not a problem. I'm sure we're just taking care of things. Make an extreme fast talk roll. A roll equal fast talk. It had to be fast talk. Why not persuade? Fast talk is a base of 5%, which means to get a 1/5, I have to roll a 1. I have to roll a 1 basically to get it. See, now if I was a GM, um, I would actually allow myself to make a persuade roll. But let's see. I'll roll. Take a chance. It might be low enough that I can probably spend some luck to do it, but I'm doubting it. Oh my god, that's a 10. That is a 10. Fast talk is 5. I have to make a 1. Oh, do I spend another 9 points in luck? I'm really. Oh my god. Um, no, I'm not. I'll take the. I'll take the failure. If it had been persuade, that would have been an extreme success. And I guess technically, I could actually just say, "Suck it." I'm just gonna take the persuade and just be done with it. Um, but I think I'm gonna go with the dice on this. Yeah. So, and I don't honestly want to stand there with pitchforks anyway. So, um, 139. This may be the end of me. These locals are not as stupid as you think. Ah, an intelligent guard. They grab you and march you back to the center of the village, of course. So back to 108. The fading light from a narrow window tells me that afternoon is giving way to evening. My hands are shackled behind my back, so I cannot even lie down on the rough bed. A woman I have not seen before comes in. Her face is wrinkled and her eyes dull. They don't meet mine, but she puts a cup to my lips. To reject it or to not? I'll accept. So I drink from the cup. It holds cool, refreshing water, which I gulp down. When it's empty, she turns to leave. Please, please let me out. Please don't keep me here. Please, please don't do this. Don't. don't do this. Please, I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm nothing, please. But she steps outside and closes the door. No, no, let me out. Let me out. I'm nobody, please. I just want to go home. I try yelling. I feel yell at the top of my lungs. They must hear me outside. They've got to hear me. They've got to hear me. But nobody comes. Nobody. I scream and I yell and I shake from against the bed and against the shackles on my body until everything hurts, until I have practically cut the shackles cut into my flesh. My voice is hoarse, my throat is scratchy, and nobody comes. And I finally have to accept that the entire village must be in on this, that nobody is coming. And to 205 to see my fate. As I notice the light fade outside, my little prison becomes dark. I can hear a lot of activity going on around the building. Occasionally, an orange glow passes the window. The only comfortable position that I can get to in the shackle seems to be to sit against the end of the bed with my arms hanging behind me. Now, yelling and screaming, it's obvious that no one is going to help me. They're all in on it, so it's up to me to save myself. I need to focus. I need to concentrate and come up with some plan. I can't get out of these bonds. These shackles were definitely made for, well, people probably much stronger than me. I don't know exactly what they want from me, but I honestly do not want to find out. And all I know is that they have spent the entire day building that damned massive bonfire. This, between that and the things in the woods, I think I'd rather take my chances with the things in the woods. I don't want, I can't. I have to go. I have to find a way. And I will go to section 27 to see what my options are. As I'm sitting and pondering, the door scrapes, wrenching me back into the present moment. The orange light spilling from the door into the house from the blazing torches being held there at the threshold. Two large villagers step in and grab me harshly. At least I think they're villagers. It's hard to tell. They wear heavy black cloaks and their faces and hands are painted entirely black, save only for a red triangle centered on their left eye. I try to resist. I make myself as limp and heavy as possible. I try to drag my legs, but they reach under my arms and I lift me bodily from the bed. Outside, it seems that the whole village is congregated to see me as I'm brought outside. And every single one has a blackened face with a red triangle motif on their eye. Torches sputter and spill fire. I struggle. I do my best. They have to know that I am not done fighting yet, so I do everything up, but they are too strong for me, and I am unable to get away. I realize physical resistance is hopeless. They've done this before. They know what they're doing. They march me to the central street and then turn to face the beacon. And to 117 we go. The procession down the approach is slow and formal. Save when I sense weakness, they seem to lighten as they go, and I try to yank my arms away from my captors. A chill touches me when I look forward and I see 3 human shapes carried ahead of me, draped in red cloth. The beacon looms larger and larger, its dreaded silhouette, a black triangle pointing to the stars. A low drone begins among the cloaked figures. Unbidden, the word mourners comes to mind. Mourners, burning, fire. Smoke from the torches makes me cough. I can feel the heat from them on my face. As I reach the cleared area around the beacon, 3 dancers break from the pack. Young girls swinging balls of fire in spectacular arcs, drawing circles in the night air. One by one, they draw close to me and touch my forehead with sooty fingers. Each kisses me 3 times, on the left cheek, on the right cheek, and then the forehead. The smell of kerosene fills my nostrils as they whisper in my ear. And I need to make an appearance check. I have a 60. And that is a 57. So that is a success. And I go to number 10. Through your sacrifice, the village will be reborn, says the first dancer. You pass from earth to air for all of our sakes, says the second. I'm weakened the chains, said the third. Don't try to escape until the flames are high enough to hide you. I stare at the third dancer. In that inky visage, I clearly discern the frightened features of Ruth Ledbetter. Holy shit, she's helping me. She's helping me. Their dance weaves off and disappears behind the building. And I jump to number 18 to find that I arrive underneath the beacon as 10 villagers close in on me. Working with surprising coordination, they immobilize me and lift me up the blackened iron stairs to the raised platform. I can't help but shiver at the sight of the central framework twisted from past blazes and what I can now clearly see to be the fastening point for the chains. None of the eyes meet mine as I am lashed to the metal. The village sings now, something rhythmic and ancient, carved from odd syllables. A second group ascends to the beacon, carrying the 3 red-draped bodies. With reverence, they arrange their burdens in a triangle around my feet. Then they withdraw, leaving me alone with the dead shin deep in a sea of kindling. And we move to 33. It seems the entire village has gathered around the beacon to watch me burn. Behind the face paint, I recognize May Ledbetter. And yes, that is Silas, the coach driver, standing at her side. You son of a bitch. The audacity and scale of the deception staggers me. A man steps up on the dais and raises his hand with quiet authority. The frame of his spectacles obscures the red triangle on his face. So we draw here together again on this night, as we do each year, and we give thanks to the one who will preserve the village against the fire of the void. You will be taken by the ones from above in our stead. Your death will bring life to our streets and bounty to our fields. It will safeguard our children and our elders alike for another year. We salute you. And he bows his head. All around the beacon, bearers step forward and lift their torches to the edge of the raised platform. A ring of tiny flames flicker up around the perimeter, and as they wink, the sing of the villagers drops to an unearthly rhythm. She told me to wait. She told me to wait until the flames were high enough. If I run now, I might get away, but they'll easily see, and the flames are just starting. But if I wait and I listen to her, is she really trying to help me? Or is this what they want? Do I wait or do I run? I wait and I go to 40. The flames snake across the kindling, catching and rising. Smoke rises and it becomes difficult to see the villagers. The three bodies surrounding me catch fire, blazing with sooty red flames. I begin to cough as the smoke enters my lungs and fight down the urge to panic. And I head to 65 to see if there's a chance. Flames lick at my legs. My eyes water. I'm shrouded in smoke. I might be my imagination, but I think I can feel a slight give in the chains. I throw myself against them, giving no thought to how they bite my wrists, and pray that she truly is on my side and wanted to let me out. And I am going to take 5 points of damage from the flames as they burn me through this. I now have to make a strength roll. And remember, I chose strength as a low part. Strength is 40. Here we go. And that is an 86. I do not, oh, do I have? No, 86, and I need a 40, which means I do not have enough luck to do that. Even if I blew every point that I had, I do not have enough luck to do that. So I need to go to 77. The chains give a little more as I struggle against them. I feel that I could overcome them if I just had a little more time. But I feel the flesh of my legs begin to char, the fire spreading up my jacket and licking at my face. And I have run out of time. And with that, I have burned to death in the beacon, and the village of Emberhead lives on one more time. Oh, goodness. Oh my gosh. I should have run. I probably should have run. Oh my gosh. Well, I did not survive alone against the flames. I tried. I did my best. I gave it a shot. And at least I guess in the end I know that Ruth actually was trying to help. So faith in no, I don't think any faith in humanity is restored on that one. Oh my gosh. Well, on that note, a celebratory drink is in order. Celebratory because I burned to death? No, just celebratory because I did the stream. So, on that note, thank you all for joining me here at the Bite and Claw Tavern. Thank you for joining me tonight for Alone Against the Flames, a Call of Cthulhu uh, solo adventure. This was amazing. This was so much fun. Um, oh my goodness. So Alone Against the Flames is put out by Chaosium, uh, part of the Alone Against series, written by Gavin Inglis. I apologize for all the butchering of the all the butchering of the accents. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I had a fun time doing this, and a very happy, healthy, safe, and all the blessings maybe of the new year to you. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you next time as the Bite and Claw Tavern comes back with something new in the future. But for now, good night, and I will see you down the road.